Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again. This is Akata Vesta. Today, I have a very special sister from our group in Galactic Astrology who is already an experienced astrologer for 20 years. That I feel such honor to be in the same group with her as a newbie in astrology, and there's always so much to learn from her through her podcast in a YouTube channel that you will find the link below. And even within our group, she has always shared her knowledge and wisdom, and I find it admirable to have a person like her as a sister. And today, apart from the galactic astrology, I really want to present to you of her personal history that she has experienced that is out of ordinary. For instance, she is an ordained minister, which for me is something that I have no knowledge of. And let's present Sibyl Star, and she will explain to us how she came to be an ordained minister. Okay. Hello, Sibyl. How are you?
I am good, Akata, and thank you for having me on this show. And I just want to share that I'm always amazed when you say you're a newbie because you have just some innate understanding of astrology and human nature and the way you share it. So,
Okay, thank you so much. This means so
yeah,
much to me. Like,
yeah.
I am just putting out things there when I feel like it and how I feel it, and I guess none of us really come into this lifetime as the first time astrologer.
And yeah, and so I do want to just share a little piece about that because I discovered astrology when I was 12. I was in the Catholic
Oh,
Church, and it
yes.
was like, oh my God, something that finally makes sense. It was like my lifeline.
Hmm.
And so I have been a student of astrology since I was 12. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
long time. Yeah. So anyway, about the ministry program that I was in and participated in. It's not one of the major religions. It's a more alternative program, but it was a 2-year program, and it was through the Center for Sacred Studies, and it was in alignment with Indigenous teachings. The Center for Sacred Studies is very much in alignment with Mother Earth, and we worked with the International Council of the 13 Indigenous Grandmothers, and they shared their wisdom as part of the program, each one of the grandmothers, and it was a very eclectic program because we covered not only indigenous wisdom but wisdom from all different spiritual traditions, plant medicine, um, herbal and sacred medicine. And what else did we have? We had so many different. Well, I'm actually teaching in their program now. I
All
teach
right.
something called archetypal medicine. So anyway, if anyone is interested in anything like that, it's a beautiful program. It covers a broad spectrum of different spiritualities, but it is basically in service to the Great Mother. That's my that's how it started. It was called a ministry of her walking prayer, but they changed it to a ministry of walking prayer,
Yeah.
walking in the world with your ministry. Okay, and how
Okay.
you touch the world with your ministry.
Is that highly religious related?
Oh no, like I said, it was initially based on more indigenous wisdom, native people.
Mm.
It's a very, I would say, well, no, I would go back and say it's the program itself is very eclectic. It takes from many different spiritual traditions. Um, and they had teacher that we had a teacher from the Orishas, the African Orishas. We had a whole one of our and the modules were like 2 months long, and so over that 2 month period, we had books to read, and we had different people coming in. Like I said, one was with the African Orishas, many Native American teachers, South American teachers, Buddhist, Hindu. We learned some, it was just like I said, it's very eclectic. And then things that weren't even ministry at all. Like I am teaching what's called archetypal medicine, and that's like Carolyn Mace, archetypes, look like astrology, working with the archetypes. And that's
Yes.
actually the format that I am using is the astrological archetypes to teach what these archetypes are, these basic energetic patterns that we have in us and around us. Like the archetype of the mother, the archetype of the father, the archetype of the warrior, these basic. So like I said, the program has many different components, not just one. It's like being exposed to all the different ways we interact with the world in a spiritual way.
Oh.
Plant medicine, sacred plant medicine. Many indigenous people work a lot with sacred plant medicine. And so that's also part of the teaching here of learning about that.
Oh, I think that is such a wonderful program. I will look it up. I mean,
Oh, I'll
and
send it to you. I'll send it to
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah. Because like recently through, okay, it's not that I have been certified for so long since April, but in this meantime, I attract clients that have gone through traumas, a lot of traumas in their life, and all these traumas very often manifest in certain disease, illness, and I am so much into it. When I studied the chart, I look at the medical astrology, and I also
Oh.
look at the metaphysical to
Mhm.
explain the illness. Sometimes it's not just a consequences of this lifetime,
Right.
also ancestral reasons,
Mhm.
karma,
Mhm.
and I find it is just so amazing. And the chart itself is a tool to help us to move around and find out where can all these sufferings come from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Absolutely. So you say you're doing some medical astrology.
Mm,
Have you been using any certain sources? I'm just curious what you're using. I've looked in that topic a lot, and
mm,
I'm a nurse. And I mean,
yeah.
let's put it this way.
Well,
I've done nursing most of my life, so I've been very interested in that as.
so far my main reference is the book of medical astrology from Judith Hill, and I find she is just so amazing,
Yeah.
explaining through different
Yeah.
aspects
Mm-hmm.
together with the planetary movement, either from the birth chart or from the
Mm-hmm.
transit chart to find out certain reasons behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, we are intuitives.
Right.
We read books, but at the end of the day is how when we connect with the
Mm-hmm.
higher self with our clients. And I give a lot of space to that they are
Mm-hmm.
actually the one helping me, guiding me to understand,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes seeing certain past life. So
Mm-hmm.
it is all sorts of sources, information that help me to understand what they are going through,
Right. Right. Yeah, I get that.
and
Yeah.
certain experience that, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
sexual
Mm-hmm.
abuse is
Mm-hmm.
very often is a replay with many lifetimes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it interesting that when they come back and they choose to go through certain experience, they have made the intention through this lifetime, I will finish it. I will
Mm-hmm.
terminate
Mm-hmm.
the karma that is from ancestrals, from family lineage.
Mm-hmm.
And and very often I find it's also for the greater collectives.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, there's a teaching in the indigenous tradition of the grandmothers that I worked with, or that I was involved with, and it is when we heal ourselves, we heal 7 generations behind us, 7 generations before us, and Mother Earth. So we heal both ways. We heal our lineage and we heal all of those coming to us, the grandchildren, the children, and Mother Earth. Because, and that's what they say, that's what Mother Earth tells us. They ask her, how can we help you? She says, heal yourselves.
Yes, yes, and I
That's
find
what
it
it's about.
so true.
Yeah.
And with this opportunity, I really like to send an applause to all of them, all of us actually, that
Mm-hmm.
we are here today to
Mm-hmm.
face whatever difficulties we are facing in life.
Right. Yeah.
And I admire so much their courage. Not only that, through their experience, they are keeping the kindness,
Mm-hmm.
the love that is in them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I find it
Yeah. Yeah. And,
so
and I feel like that is the big teaching that is happening with this eclipse that is coming up. That the way to navigate these difficult times is through generosity of spirit and kindness. It's never wrong. And that we must keep our hearts open in this field of challenge, because we are shifting. But to align with the higher frequency that is coming in. These deep traumas are coming to the surface, and like you said, it's not just theirs, it's their ancestral, it's their family, it's the collective trauma, and we're healing it all. So it makes it for a challenging time. And I do feel like when Pluto moves into Aquarius, that is really about I would say, a revolution in consciousness. But these last degrees of Capricorn are like, I mean, they're just like pushing hard. Deal with your
yes,
stuff, own your stuff,
yeah,
and heal your stuff, love yourself, release the judgment, but you got to first be able to look at it, to then be able to shift it and to see, how, and they say, like, the light has no shadow, and so the more of the light and and it's an, it is a new age thing saying light and love, and yet it is what is the truth is there's love heals. That's it. You know,
well, the new age tends to a little bit bypass the
yes,
what
right,
we
right, right. The
call
thing is, the key is you can't do the bypass. You got to own it first, and then know that the love and the light do transmute all of that pain, all of that suffering, all of that karma. But you got to say, yeah, this is what's happening, and forgive yourself. The other piece is self-forgiveness. I have to, and forgive others.
yes,
Forgiveness is the Pluto transformative piece. And that is the key. We can own our stuff, but if we're unable to let it go and forgive ourselves, we're still carrying it, so they're both pieces are there.
yeah, yeah, I think so too. And with that, I would like to connect the dot with another of your extraordinary experience as a
Okay.
nurse.
Okay. Okay.
I
Oh,
think,
okay, right.
yeah, as a nurse in really helping in this material world with people.
Yeah.
I let you to.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so I was a nurse for 40 years. I certainly learned to not identify as a nurse, say I am a nurse. That was so I've learned to just say it that way, and it really feels better.
Mm,
But I would say that nursing was wonderful for me. I mean, our medical system, I've seen, of course, gradually get worse and worse and worse, but the people involved in caring for others are some of the kindest people I've ever met.
mm. Yeah.
Yes, anyway, I don't know why that kind of touched me, but it did.
Because if you
Uh,
don't have that kind of kindness in you, you can't do this work.
yeah, it truly is. Yes. And so anyway, the last 15 years I did hospice nursing. So was part of helping people transition and supporting their families in the process within, a medical context. So, but it was still just such an incredibly rewarding time. And once I just want to share just a kind of well, I feel like it was such a blessing to be able to be there with people and their families. And often, the people themselves were ready to go. That's why they were on hospice to make that transition. And their families, it was a lot harder for,
Yeah.
to want to let them go.
Mm,
Anyway, since just recently I was doing a meditation and I came to be aware that the Arcturians, they say, are the ones that help us birth into this reality and help us birth into the next reality. They say they are actually the ones that help us do our life review and between lives and
mm,
determine what is next for us.
mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I was having this meditation and I had been reading this book and I have Arcturus very strong in my galactic chart. That sits on my ascendant. I've always known that connection was there. But they came to me, let's just put it that way. They came to me and showed me my birth and showed me how because that I almost died. I knew that I was born breech with one leg stuck. And apparently they didn't do cesarean sections back when I was born in 1950. If they did them, my mother didn't have one. Let's just put it that way.
Mm,
And they showed me how they were the ones that helped me through this process, that they were with me all the time during my birth, and
mm.
that they were with me when I was doing hospice nursing,
Oh,
when I
yeah.
was there helping others transition,
Yeah.
that they were part of that process. So,
I think we both feel this Arcturian's energy so strongly, and
mhm.
I too have it on my ascendant and on my sun. And Akata, Akata is an Arcturian name that I received from them, and it plays so important. Now is even more important than ever. I think they really make the energy feel,
Mhm.
and yeah, yeah. And so back to you with your experience as a nurse, with your experience as an ordained minister, with your 20 years experience as an astrologer, how you integrate everything together in your work now with galactic astrology.
I just open up and ask for guidance. I just do. And I just say, may I be an open channel? I mean, I prepare for my readings for sure. But usually once I get in them, the client guides them. We're talking about that, what's going on in that client's life. And I'm just seeing what the stars have to say, what kind of guidance, what it might be about, trying to be of service in that way you know yeah, and I also feel that astrology is a tool, and I feel like there are so many tools out there. It's just whatever tool really speaks to you. And even with like Vedic astrology and different kinds of astrology, it's just really opening that window into the cosmos. Whatever tool works for you, astrology works for me, you
Yes,
know.
I
Yeah,
attest to that. As a
yeah,
newbie, okay, if I only rely on the knowledge that I have learned in this short period, I wouldn't have anything to say, right?
right,
And
right.
but I find it like I do this little preparation and to have the overall image of this chart of this person life,
Hmm.
feel
Hmm.
into it. And during session is where the channeling really come out with interaction. And sometimes I say, did I just say that? I didn't know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say too that with as long as I've been doing it, the symbols speak to me now. I don't just it's not intellectual. I feel them. I feel the energy. Like I feel the energy of Pluto. I feel the energy of Neptune. I feel
Mm,
the energy of Uranus or
mm,
the sun or whatever we're looking at. It's because when I feel the energy of that, what that symbol is saying to me, it helps me tune in to the client, and I can just feel that energetic connection and what's flowing. And yeah,
yeah, that is something wonderful. Okay, tomorrow we are going to have our solar eclipse.
gonna
And
have
I
our
know that
what? Oh
you,
yeah, our solar eclipse, right? Yeah.
yeah, and I know you have already done your video. Okay,
Mm.
and even this video will not should come out a little bit later. But I still want to have a little glimpse, a little summary of
A
how you
little
see
something.
it.
How I see it. Okay. Well, this is how I see it. I work a lot with the Sabian symbols,
Yeah, me
and
too. Yeah.
yeah, and so often when I'm looking at something, the Sabian symbol will just really pop out as this is so significant. Because let's just start first. We've got some difficulties going on in the world right now, and Pluto has just gone direct. And to me, Pluto says evolve or die. When Pluto is around, it's saying it's time to evolve. It pushes us to grow, and it can be very challenging. And we have Mars square that Pluto, which is like a catalyst, and we see what's going on in the world. you know
Yeah.
and even though
Yes.
there's like a 2-week window before an eclipse, 2-week window before, 2-week window after. And so the energy is, whatever is going on can certainly happen during that time, but its effects can last up to years. But anyway, so we have this massive Pluto Mars square. Mars is the warrior. Mars is moved into Scorpio, the sign of Pluto. It's super intense, super what would be the word? Catalyzing, um, stirring the pot. The pot is being stirred, and it's
Being
like a
stirred.
volcanic
Like,
eruption, right?
mm,
And at the same time, we have this beautiful Sabian symbol that says a child giving water to the birds at a fountain. That may not be the exact thing, but that's the image. A child giving water to the birds at a fountain, which also what says to me is, birds are often spiritual messengers.
yes.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they come from the other world. And, of course, children are those that are closest to God, closest to Creator. And I feel like it is showing us the way to navigate these times is through kindness and generosity, and to recognize, as the Lakota say, Mataquiasan, all my relations. We are all related.
Yes.
To care for each other, and that is the way forward. And that's that, and the other thing it says to me about this Libra solar eclipse, because Libra is so much about inner peace. That doesn't mean Libras have inner peace. It means they're seeking that balance. And I love the what is it? I don't know if you're familiar with a certain tarot deck. It's called the Crowley deck or the Thoth deck. It's
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
okay.
mm.
Well, the card there is called Adjustment, the Libra card, and
All
it's the
right.
goddess
Yeah.
the goddess Themis standing on the tip of a sword, saying
Mm,
this is the place of balance. So in Libra, we're trying to adjust to come back into balance, because in that place of balance is where inner peace lies. That's where serenity lies. Okay. And the thing is, in all of this conflict that's going on in the world, we have to be the peace. That's it. You can't, I mean, yes, we can pray for peace. I would say pray for all the people that are suffering, but to shift the energy, that peace has to be in our heart. We can't fight for peace, you know?
and I think with time, like next year, at the beginning of next year, when Pluto really go into Aquarius, from here to there is our action time to really bring
Mhm.
up. what we have inside and
Right.
express it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
outwardly, to show it outwardly.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness that every
Mm-hmm.
one of us would like to have it in us and to have it
Mm-hmm.
receive it from the others. It's time really to say we share it
Mm-hmm.
as brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter which country you come from, which race you are,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all that. And when we go into the when Pluto will
Mm-hmm.
go into Aquarius, is the demonstration of the mass consciousness that enough of this polarity.
Right. Enough of this polarity is the tipping point. Absolutely. I believe that when Pluto moves into Aquarius, it is about is about shifting in evolution in consciousness in hyperspeed, and because so many people are starting to really get it, that we can't participate, take sides. The more
There's
you
no
take sides, the
point.
more it continues. Yeah. you
There's no
know
point.
yeah, everybody is suffering. I mean, call out the people that are responsible, the leadership, the
Yes.
leadership in these different countries. That's the problem. It's not the people.
No, no, no. And
Yeah.
yeah, I sincerely hope with this eclipse that with this spark of energy ignite something that is dormant within us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And somehow I think we don't have a choice.
Yeah,
It,
you're absolutely right. There is no other way. We've
yeah.
tried every other way. And, I think of if my readings, I talk galactic history, and it is channeled material,
Mm,
but I've come to trust many of these channels because I know these energy channels are opening because our star nation relatives want us to remember and to know that we are not alone in this process.
mm,
And, they say, we've been quarantined, but that quarantine has been lifted. And so now we're starting to remember. But what I want to talk about just a little bit is the Orion Wars, which they say the Star Wars movies were based on. It was the archetypal battle of good versus evil. Well, as they say, and it went on for millions of years, and we are feeling the echoes of that here now. But how they from the galactic history, they went through this ascension process. They ascended into higher frequencies. The wars are not going on there, but they had to integrate the shadow within themselves, the dark and light within themselves, to not do or to to stop doing the us versus them. Is that unity? It's moving into unity consciousness.
mm.
That's how they did the shift, and that's where this is how to move it. There's no other way except to be that whatever we want to see in the world, we need to be that in our heart.
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
Yeah,
that's it. And part of that we're needing to look at and to integrate and to meet it with love and compassion. First own it, because I do feel like Capricorn is self-mastery. I mean, it is and the self-mastery is mastery of self, and mastery of our ego, so that we can live more of our higher self. But we have to master that ego.
yes,
Does that
yes.
make sense?
Yeah, I think regarding the Orion War, that um I'm sure you have also very familiar with the Prism of Lyra from
Right.
Lisa Royal Holt, right?
Right.
And she
That's where a
talked,
lot of this came from. Right.
yeah, yeah. And okay, first I go back with the channeling. I find myself be able to channel after I left Italy. Like I channeled before, and then I have that period was totally blocked for almost 1 year. And when I come over here with the movement of the south of the north node south node, and somehow I find myself back to that energy. And I think that is
Mm,
also related to the eclipse and that opening portals for
mhm.
many of us that is already
Right.
sensitive to this kind of
Mhm.
energies and this kind of communication.
Mhm.
And we are bringing
Mhm.
in more and more and sometimes just by staying silent, just by watching maybe a bird. and the message come. And it's so important
Exactly.
in today's world. I think that all of us, it's not like we don't need to channel messages that to save the world. Just that tiny little bit that serve in for us for the next steps. What's to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're in unknown territory. You know, we're traveling in unknown territory, and this is the way to move through it, is to open to higher guidance. That's it.
Yeah. And the story of the Orion War, and while you were talking, that is some message that I received is also in the Orion War through the book of Lisa Roy Holt. She has also mentioned the Orion Christ, right?
Right,
That
right. They had a
story.
Messiah, right, who
Yeah.
came and helped them wake up. That's
Yes.
right.
And I think many of us has lived there, lived that experience
Mm-hmm.
there in Orion.
Right.
We carry it in
Mm-hmm.
us, in our DNA today here.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
what's more today is even more important for us. The difference is instead of looking up this Savior, this Messiah that one day come to save us, today we are learning we are saving us by ourselves.
Right. That's the age of Aquarius that we're moving into. Right. Yeah. It's recognizing our own divinity and that coming together, you know, as we join our consciousness in a higher elevation, you know? Yeah.
Yes.
And it's love. And you know, it's like there's so many I would say kind of intellectual teachings that say this, that say that, but the truth is it's really what's in your heart. That's what this is. And that's what the grandmothers say. You know, the longest distance you'll ever travel is those, however long, 14 inches from your head to your heart. You know what, this is what this is about. It's a, you know, we're moving into a 5D consciousness, which is from the heart. It is living, and we are actually, many of us are living actually already in 5D in much of our lives, because when we're living from the heart, that is a 5D consciousness.
Yes.
As
And
being in the fifth dimension, that is where, yeah. And this is, and so that's what I think, you know, and I think this may be time, it's the end of the age of Pisces, so we finally kind of are learning the message of Jesus,
yes,
of the
yes.
Christ. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
I I think in my personal way, I am living it in such a blessing ways. Every day since I left left Italy, that when we trust, doesn't really matter if we have the security, the safety net. When we trust, our problem will get solved. And and sometimes I just thought like if only with my own resources, I may be able to stay for 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks the most. And I just been giving opportunities, possibilities that is beyond my imagination.
That is so wonderful. I just love that you're able, that you're doing this, that you're following your inner guidance this way and trusting it, like you said, trusting it. And that's the key. We can listen to it, but can we trust it? You
Yeah.
know, and you're doing it. That's just amazing. You've just gone to so many amazing places. It's like, God, I live here. I would love to be on the trip with you, you know?
Why not come around?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I think everywhere that I go, it's not even I want to go because I didn't study where I need to go, and somehow the trip is planning out by where I should go to sit. That's it. It's not up to me. And 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 what more to confirm once again of this 5D experience?
Right.
Everywhere I go, I meet extraordinary people.
Mm.
So loving, so kind, doesn't really matter to say if they are spiritually awakened or not. That is also one of the boxes that we try to fit in.
Right.
But a person can have no understanding of what astrology, what spiritual awakening is, or what exoteric, or what ET races. But they are living as an example. That is already a spiritual awakening.
Absolutely. And there's absolutely, that's what the real truth of it is, right? Yeah.
And I find them everywhere.
God, that is amazing. It's so wonderful you're having this experience. It's just great.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, that is just great. But yeah, and I agree with you. We don't have to make it hard. It's about living from the heart and being kind, no matter what.
Yes, yeah. Okay. All right, Sibyl, I can talk to you for another 2 hours. But I would really like to ask you,
Okay.
if you should sum up what we have been talking today, to close up today's podcast, how would you put it? How would you connect the dots that we have been talking, and how you see it, and from here, how should we proceed?
How should we proceed? Well, I actually think we've been talking about that. I feel like, see if I can gather this here. We are moving through some turbulent times. We know the old is breaking down, and it can be scary, and fear can be coming up. And we know the opposite of fear is love. And so I feel like it's just those simple teachings that we even learned as a child, love one another, and we can, try to I just feel like that is really the biggest message of all, as well as to ask for help. These corridors are opening to the world of the invisible as every bit as real as the material world, and to open to though was it Rick Tarnas? I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's an astrologer that I out here in the Bay Area, and he did this special once, and he said, Mother Earth, we are going into this shift in consciousness, and the whole universe is gathered around us to help us. We just have to ask.
Yes.
So if you're going through a hard time, ask for help. But no, it's really to be aligned with the truth of your heart and to share it in the world. Maybe that's what I would say.
Yes. And I think each of us, through our services, through our presence, just by being who we are, truly are, authentically of who we are, and we are already doing our job.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that is the best channel to bring out this unconditional love that our world needs.
Yeah. I love when Lisa Royal Holt says that the Arcturians are the broth in the cosmic soup, the unconditional love. Yeah. Yeah, I love it when she says that. But yeah, that's what it's about. It's remembering who we are. It's awakening to who we are, remembering our own divinity, that each of us are like a point of light. We are a point of focus of creator, and it's an experience. We've never actually left the source of all creation. We're having this experience, as they say, to grow to the greater reality. I don't know all of the reasons, of course, but sometimes that really helps me to kind of come back in and say, I am an aspect of creator having this experience, and whatever this experience is growing the greater reality, and to just kind of flow with it.
Yes. Yep.
It helps me settle down and calm down
and bring us back to here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to thank you so much for this opportunity, for this chat, this wisdom that you are sharing. And I would here and now and say, I would love another opportunities. Okay.
Oh,
And
I
I
would
think,
love that. Yeah.
yeah, I think that chit-chatting really bring out how we feel inside, just as a normal human beings without any boxes categories to put in front of us. And I'm sure there is so much more I can get out from you. Okay.
Well, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it and I would love to visit again.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And I so admire you for just hopping on this spirit train you're on and following your inner guides. Golly, well, how much fun can that be?
Um, Sometimes I still ask myself what I
Yeah.
am doing here.
Oh, absolutely. I would get that. And you're doing it.
Doing it. And let's see how long I last.
There you go. All right. All
Yeah,
right, my dear.
okay. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I enjoyed this conversation with Sibyl Stars. And see you next time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.